What's going on, guys? It's Alex from Maximum Charge. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be headed down to Spark Cycle Works over in Branford, Connecticut, and checking out their Brute e-bike, the replacement for the Bandit e-bike that they used to have. Now, Matt, the CEO and main engineer over at Spark Cycle Works, we end up talking a lot about this bike. So this is going to be a fairly detailed video. All right, so what is this right here?
We have the ignition right up top.
Okay.
So it's right in the system right there.
Okay, all right. If you guys do want to get to the riding footage, I'm going to leave a timestamp somewhere on top of the screen. And that way you can just skip right into the riding footage if that's what you want to look at first. So if you're really interested in buying this bike and you want to learn more about it, stay tuned. I think you're really going to like what you're about to see. And if you guys are interested in this bike, I will leave a link in the description below. Feel free to check that out for the most updated price. And I also have a ton of other links down there as well, such as recommended accessories and other awesome e-bikes. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
So yeah, we have the two main bikes from Spark. If you've been following us for a while, you know the original bike was the Bandit, and the Bandit has now become the Brute. The Brute took a lot of the original styling of the Bandit. So they're not 20-inch wheels, actually. They're 16-inch motorcycle wheels, but that's very close to a 20-inch fat tire. We obviously have the dual headlights, the rear rack, the whole form factor of the Bandit. But this bike is more dedicated to utility and cargo. It's great for pulling trailers. It's great for like a campsite. It's like, we consider it like the pickup truck or the Jeep of our product line. We have finally started shipping them. We had like an insane amount of delays that happened in the beginning, and people have seen our YouTube videos about it with our frame maker and all this other kind of stuff. But bottom line is we've worked it all out, and we're getting to the point now where we're actually sending these orders out. And then we have another batch that's going to be sending out in December. So there's 3 production batches. Production batch 1 has already been going. Number 2 is right behind, and then 3 is right behind that. And the goal is just like with Bandit, that we don't have to do these pre-orders. It's just that this is how it goes, and we're a small team, and we don't have a big investor base. We're completely self-funded, and we need a little bit of a kickstart from the community before we can trust it enough to put the money into it. And it seems like it's going well. But the Brute is our utility monster. We're designing it for not just normal use case, but also a commercial application. So for example, we're going to be working on first responder packages. So this is something that you could see in like New York City, completely outfitted, that gets to like an accident scene before the ambulance and stabilizes the person. You could see it being used for like electricians and plumbers in the city that can get completely outfitted, but also just your normal person that wants to load it up with gear or just have something that's like built like a tank, right?
And I noticed it has pedals.
Yes, this one has pedals.
All right.
We had to have at least one bike that had pedals.
Nah, you don't need that.
So yeah, it has pedals. It's kind of in line with the Bandit. The only difference is it's a single speed. Because you're not really using these pedals, but they are there. It's a 44-tooth chain ring, so the gearing is definitely not there for eliminating ghost pedaling. You're gonna have ghost pedaling, but it does it.
You mean when I'm going 50 miles an hour, I'm not gonna ghost pedal?
You're absolutely gonna ghost pedal. But yeah, so I mean, I guess if we start in the back of the bike.
Sure.
So we're using another like 4,000 watt motor, 72 volt system. So this isn't a setup where we got one 60 volt bike, one 72 volt bike. Both these bikes are running 72 volts. One of the things that people always laugh at is the size of the dropout on this bike.
This is a thick dropout. Thick with 2 C's right here. Yes. Thick with 3 C's. Damn, boy, he's thick, boy!
It's 1 inch. Just an interesting thing about it though, this 1 inch dropout is about as strong as the javelin's dropouts. That are half the thickness, which is crazy to think about, but this is aluminum and this is a really, really hard kind of steel. So they're both designed.
It's almost like tool steel, or not quite.
Yeah,
pretty much
like
there.
It's basically like what they make plastic injection molding tools. And so, we really designed this to prevent strip outs because, we've had bikes that got stripped out, and we've seen tons of other brands out there that have stripped out dropouts on them. So we really wanted to prevent it and allow you to push a bigger motor someday if you ever wanted to and not worry about it. Yeah.
Do you feel like most dropouts in the industry are not really rated for longevity?
100%.
100%. Most of them.
Yeah, I would
Wow.
say like overwhelming majority of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like you design a whole bike, this whole beautiful like sculpture of a thing, and then like one of the most critical pieces, like where the motor mounts onto, you decided to skimp out on, and it's really weird.
How much does it take to strip out a dropout? Like maybe a 750 watt geared hub that's peaking at 1200. Eventually, it'll strip out most dropouts, or is it way more than you need?
I mean, it all depends on the bike and what kind of dropouts. Because there are some bikes that will do like an insert into it, so you got like a steel dropout. That's really good. But it's so many variables that go into it. But the number one thing is to make sure that motor nut is tight. If that gets loose, you start to get a rocking motion,
And that's really what.
and that's the end of it.
That's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Same suspension as the Javelin, it looks like.
Pretty much the same. It's a 12.5-inch motorcycle shock. This just uses a different mounting system.
Simba does not like the brute suspension.
We're a very dog-friendly shop. Usually I have 2 different dogs, and they'll rotate coming here now. But yeah, everybody in the company has a dog.
There
or
you
a
go,
cat.
as there should be. I'm a dog guy too. This looks like a whole motorcycle wheel. I noticed the spokes are very thick too, because I hear in the industry another thing that breaks a lot are spokes. They get loose, they break all the time, and you guys have some super thick spokes over here.
Yeah, for sure. So this is it's like going back to things we learned from Bandit. That's 100%. Like that is one of the biggest things. You can set a weight rating on thing, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, the spokes are definitely heavy duty, and that comes back to what I was saying with learning things from Bandit. So we most certainly had Bandit wheels that people were hitting big potholes and things like that, and they were bending spokes. And that's a big bummer, because then we got to figure out, oh gosh, how do we get this bike on the road? Well, we end up sending a whole new wheel, and it just comes down to, well, we should just use heavier duty spokes from the beginning. And that's kind of like, it's just like the dropouts, right? So do that extra little step so that bike is going to last a little bit longer, because it doesn't cost much more. Like doing heavier gauge spokes on this thing, it was like insignificant.
And these types of spokes, they can pretty much only fit into these direct drive motors. I haven't seen too many geared hub motors with the ability to have these kind of big spokes, unless you widen the holes, right?
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah, it's definitely kind of a slightly custom thing.
And these motors, something a lot of people say is that they're lower torque because they're direct drive, but tell me what happens when you put enough amps into a direct drive motor. How much torque does it get?
It can have a lot. It can most certainly have a lot. I'm sure you'll take this bike out, and you will notice that it's not a wheelie machine. We really try to send everything out to be reasonable. I'll put it that way. It's fun to like get that first experience of like hitting the wheelie right off the bat and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people who are just very inexperienced that are trying to get into this and get their bike. They want it to be easy to get on and understand. So we send the bike out to the highest torque that we feel comfortable. And then it's one of these things where we allow you to go into the far driver and begin modding things a little bit to see what you feel comfortable with. But direct drives can absolutely have high torque. It's just that a geared hub motor can most certainly have higher torque for the power that it has. The only caveat is once you start to get outside like 2,000 watts on a geared hub motor, it just doesn't really make sense. You start to hit a crossover period where you should just go to a direct drive. And that's actually why the Bandit was a 2,000 watt. So the Bandit was a 2,000 watt geared hub motor, and we were one of the first companies like 5 years ago to put steel gears in our hub motors.
Is that completely steel or steel reinforced?
It's steel reinforced.
Steel reinforced.
So it's that sandwich. Because solid steel was too heavy.
It's loud too. I've heard it before. It's really loud.
Yeah.
Okay, still nylon gear, no drivetrain, just motor. This is aluminum gear.
So the sandwich was the best of both worlds. We see them all over the place, which is great because in the beginning, dude, the whole e-bike industry, like we repaired other people's e-bikes too. Those nylon gears just shred.
The geared hub motors with the steel reinforced gears, those can still top out at around 2,000 reliably?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 2,000 is about like what we found to be our limit, which is kind of what the Bandit ended up at towards the end of its life. Once you get above that, you just go direct drive. Because really, to make a geared hub motor go more than 40 miles an hour, those internal planetary gears are flying.
Tell me more about the types of tires that you use, because look at the difference in these tires. This, you could, big difference. And both tire choices, they're customizable, right? But you chose big tires for this one. Tell me more about those.
Sure. So yeah, the Brute definitely uses this wider, heavier tire. So keep that in mind. They're quite a bit heavier. We tried to find a tire that was all-terrain. So when we put that first prototype out, they had those crazy like monster truck knobbies, and those were really fun. They were just not good on the road. So this was kind of the best of both worlds. It's a legitimate motorcycle tire. I forget the exact width on this one, 110 millimeters, and yeah, they're awesome. Like they're like freaking bulletproof. The tread depth is insane. So they've been really good. We've been very, very happy with them.
Are you guys gonna put a tow hitch on this?
So there's a few...
I was actually joking. You're going with it, okay?
Oh, I'm not. So one of the things that I'm hoping to find some time to develop is a serious bike trailer, because I think it's one of the things that's like really needed in the industry, right? And leave a comment down below if you agree. But seriously, like there are tons of really beautiful, like nice bike trailers that are $400 or $500, but they use regular bicycle tires, and they're not rated for the speeds. And so I want to be able to have a trailer that is like a flatbed that you can just bolt stuff to, that has legitimate tires, so that if I'm cruising 40, 45 miles an hour, I'm not worried about like BMX tires.
Gotcha.
Holding up 500 pounds of gear. Yeah, I know it was kind of a joke, but seriously, definitely adding a trailer system to it. So this is kind of one of our final rack designs that we had come up with. The one problem that we have experienced on the earlier ones is related to the paint itself. So you can see it on this one, right? See a little chipping? We use a rhino liner, and we basically found on these earlier ones that the rhino liner is just chipping off. And so we are redoing all of these racks, and we are going to be powder coating them. So you can see this is a gloss finish. I'm going to have a satin finish. And powder coating is just like, it's so much stronger than regular paint. It's crazy because it's not paint, it's plastic. That's one thing that people don't understand. When you powder coat something, you add electric charge to that thing you're going to paint. And then you spray a very fine plastic powder, and that sticks to it by static. You then cook it in an oven, and that plastic melts and adheres to the metal. So it's like it has a whole plastic wrap around it.
Simba, which bike should I ride first? What do you think? Oh, I know. I wish you could come too. I know. Yeah, the loudest part about this bike is the freewheel. No sound. You can sneak up on people, steal their phones. Yeah, that really is the loudest part right now. That's all I hear is the freewheel. So direct drive motor, deadly silent. Yeah, it's got the power. Yeah, mid-range torque is great. Even after 20, picks up. Nice and smooth, but controllable. Lots of power, plenty of control. Oh yeah, we got the power. Feels very firmly planted, like you are riding something of substance. You're not on a bicycle anymore. This is something else. Plenty of speed, plenty of power going up that hill. We'll do a little hill climb test right here. We'll slow it down and then hit it. Yeah, we're just accelerating uphill. Look at this. Plenty of power. That was great. Just did a little hill climb test. Yeah, hill was good. Yeah, handled it like a champ. I felt it accelerating up the hill, which you can't ask for more than that. And this thing has plenty of speed. If you want to keep up with traffic, look at this. Plenty fast. Like Matt said, this tops out at 50, and most side roads, you're probably never going to be going above that. Like right now, 50 is plenty. And the most important thing is we can get there quickly. A lot of people think top speed is everything, but maintaining that speed throughout elevation changes in the road going uphill, that's huge as well. That's something that not a lot of e-bikes can do, but a powerful system like this can definitely do that. Woo! Oh yeah, suspension feels good. Intrusive thoughts for those of you that played Road Rash. Very smooth power delivery. Throttle mapping feels good, it's not jerky. I can get just enough power from wherever I put the throttle. Lots of control there. Some throttles, they're almost like on-off switches. This one is much better. I don't think you guys understand just how quiet this is. All I hear is wind. Nothing from the bike at all. Everything is perfectly tuned. Brake rotors aren't rubbing. The motor is quiet. Brakes are very, very good. They're heavy, but they work excellent. Oh, he's got the weight advantage. All right, so the Javelin is faster. So you're definitely a little faster. Look at this car. Oh, what is that? Yeah, what is that? It's like the 90s Batmobile. Hey, how's it going? Woo! Oh, a day like this is great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now we're gonna be doing the off-road test, single track test. We can't do that? Oh, damn. All right. I really like how this one looks, man. I'm liking like the bare bones look. You know, it'd be a cool skin to have. You know how some firearms, they have the magazine where it's transparent and you could see the bullets? It'd be kind of cool to have that in there. It'd be just kind of cool, I don't know. And this only comes in one color, which is this silver. Okay, this is easily wrappable because it's not a complicated frame, not a complicated battery. It's just one square or rectangle.
There's all these holes on here, and so there are going to be riv nuts installed onto here. So that's just threaded anchor points. So you can thread stuff on. And then there are extension panels that can come down too. So we're really trying to give people cargo options. You can get like a cargo set of handlebars.
Underneath this just lifts up. Or is there a latch? So batteries there, controllers back here. Cooling for both of these, the controller is going to stay nice and cool wherever it's mounted. And it's a 190 amp far driver on both of these?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're running it at about 100, so you're not really peaking it. You're not. Yeah. Okay, so it'll stay nice and cool.
It's mounted onto this, and I mean, you can feel this right now. It's cold. The far driver right here is mounted on this under panel, so you have this is like.
I see it. Okay. Yeah.
We have the only heating issues that we really think about are the motors, and even then we're running everything very conservatively. And
they're the same motors. Okay. Battery size for the Brute.
That's a 30 amp hour.
And then you can get some, like, I really like these handlebars are nice. The setup is nice. The hand seating position.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, yeah, that one, and then if you could sit on that one, if you wanted to just feel with a taller head.
Oh, this one right here. What's the, oh, one question I forgot. What's the weight of these bikes? Let's say with the battery.
The Brute weighs more like, if I remember correctly, about 160.
I'm trying to pick this up. Yeah, it's most of the weight's in the back, that heavy hub motor and the suspension. But the front is light. Someone could probably wheelie this if they wanted to.
I have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on the prototype bike.
Yeah. So this is the one for wheelies. Okay. And these handles are just for moving things around, moving the bike around.
Yeah, just for picking it up. You can also grab like, but honestly, the handles are something we did on Javelin, and people just liked them so much because they'd run straps around and strap it to their pickup truck.
Yeah, you know, some guys, they just like something to grab onto.
You stupid.
So I'm getting canceled.
Oh, something you might also be interested in are the seats. So this, like the Javelin, uses a seat from Copyri. This is the standard one, and then we have like a tracker seat, which is like lines this way, and then we have a chevron seat, which is like kind of a.
They're comfortable, really, very comfortable. This seat being wider, I can feel it. Like for a longer ride, this seat would be better than this. But that seat's still good. Like they're both great.
Yeah, this is definitely like, this is our suburban commuter. This is something that you're taking to work, 20, 25 minute ride to work. And then this is like our utility. Like, not that it can't do both things.
Actually, one of my viewers, he was asking for like a riding position test.
Actually, so that's a good question, because one of the things that we do on all of our bikes, we have an option for you to put in how tall you are.
Okay.
So this particular one is set up for a shorter rider, somebody probably about my height. You might be a little too tall, but for somebody who's tall, if you come over here, we'll have this this big adjustable stem.
Oh, nice.
On here,
nice.
right? So
that looks nice. Even if you just want a nice upright riding position.
Yep.
Because I love that. I like just kind of chilling.
So taller handlebar setup, right? So if you were, you know, 6 foot 2, something like that, this would be the way to go for you. Mostly because of your knees. As stupid as that sounds, it's like you're pedaling, and if your handlebars are real low, just run them into your arms.
The geometry is not too bad for pedaling this too.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad, although I can't even remember if I pedaled once at all on this bike. Top speed on this one versus the Javelin, are they about the same or a little bit slower?
So Brute is a little bit slower. You're looking more like 50 miles an hour.
Okay,
if you like
that's
really,
still great.
really push it.
That's still great.
It's still good. I'm pretty happy with how it is set up right now because it doesn't feel like it's going to flip you off the back, but it doesn't feel like a, you know, 750 watt bike really to me.
Yeah, it'll climb hills, no sweat.
Yeah, it's got no problem with hills, but it's because of the higher power motor and the direct drive. It's one of these bikes that once you get outside of like 5 miles an hour, it just keeps going.
Then we're good. Yeah,
it just keeps going.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for letting me test ride these. These are amazing bikes. And guys, if you want more info on these bikes, check out the link in the description below. That's it for today, folks. Until next time.